You are never meant to hide your faith. In today's gospel, Jesus speaks to us through a simple image, one that is easy to understand and yet deeply challenging. He tells us that a lamp is not meant to be hidden under a basket or placed beneath a bed. A lamp exists for a reason. It is made to shine. It fulfills its purpose only when it is placed where its light can be seen and felt. With these words, Jesus is not merely talking about an object. He is speaking about us. He is speaking about the light that God has placed within every human heart, the light of faith, the light of love, the light of truth, the light of God's presence living quietly within us, often unnoticed, sometimes doubted, but always real. Each one of us carries this light, whether we recognize it or not. And yet, many times, we are tempted to hide it. We hide our faith because we are afraid of what others might think. We hide our goodness because the world can be harsh and unforgiving. We hide our compassion because vulnerability feels risky. We hide our hope because disappointment has taught us to guard our hearts. But Jesus reminds us today that this is not what we were created for. Faith was never meant to be hidden. Love was never meant to be buried. Light was never meant to be concealed. A lamp hidden away does not stop being a lamp, but it fails to fulfill its purpose. In the same way, when we hide the light God has placed within us, we remain God's children, but we miss opportunities to bring hope, warmth, and clarity to a world that desperately needs it. Sometimes we think that shining our light means doing something extraordinary. We imagine faith as something bold, loud, or dramatic. We think of grand gestures, powerful speeches, or public acts that draw attention. And while those moments have their place, Jesus points us to something far simpler and far more accessible. Light shines most often through ordinary faithfulness. It shines through kindness offered without being asked. It shines through patience when it would be easier to respond with anger. It shines through forgiveness when holding a grudge feels justified. It shines through honesty when cutting corners would be more convenient. It shines through compassion when indifference would protect us from pain. These small acts may feel insignificant to us, but in God's eyes, they are radiant. There are people walking through darkness right now who may never hear a sermon, never open a Bible, and never enter a church, but they may encounter God through you, through your gentleness, through your consistency, through the quiet way you live your faith day by day. Jesus reminds us that nothing hidden will remain hidden forever. God sees what others do not see. He sees the prayers you whisper in the silence of your room. He sees the tears you wipe away before anyone notices. He sees the sacrifices you make when no one thanks you. He sees the effort it takes to remain faithful when life feels overwhelming. God sees the light you carry, even when you doubt it is there. And Jesus also tells us that the measure we use will be measured back to us. This is not a warning meant to frighten us. It is an invitation meant to free us. It reminds us that the more we allow God's light to flow through us, the more our hearts are expanded to receive His grace. When we choose love, our capacity for love grows. When we choose mercy, our hearts soften. When we choose faith, even in uncertainty, our trust deepens. But when we hide our light out of fear, bitterness, or discouragement, we begin to shrink inward. We protect ourselves, but we also isolate ourselves. We limit not only what God can do through us, but also what God longs to do within us. This gospel is not asking us to be perfect. Jesus does not demand flawless faith or constant confidence. He understands our struggles. He knows our doubts. He knows how easily fear can silence us. What He asks instead is simple and gentle. He asks us to be faithful, to allow the light He has already given us to shine, even if it flickers at times, even if it feels weak, even if it feels small. A small light is still light. A candle may not erase the darkness, but it changes the room. In the same way, your faith does not have to solve every problem to matter. Your goodness does not have to fix every situation to bring hope. Your presence alone, grounded in love, can make a difference. God placed His light in you for a reason. There is a reason you are where you are today. There is a reason you encounter the people you encounter. There is a reason you carry the experiences, wounds, and wisdom that you do. Nothing about your life is accidental in God's plan. Someone you meet today may be struggling silently. Someone may be carrying a burden heavier than they can manage alone. Someone may be on the edge of giving up hope. And God may be inviting you to shine His light through a simple word, a kind gesture, or a moment of patience. You may never know the impact of what you do. You may never hear the story of how your faith encouraged someone else to keep going. But just because you cannot see the effect does not mean it does not exist. Light works quietly. It does not announce itself. It does not demand attention. It simply shines, and darkness responds. Sometimes the greatest obstacle to shining our light is discouragement. Life wears us down. Disappointments pile up. Prayers seem unanswered. We grow tired of trying. We wonder if our faith really matters, if our efforts are worth it, if anyone notices at all. In those moments, Jesus speaks again through today's gospel, reminding us that God is always at work, even when we cannot see it. He reminds us that growth often happens underground before it becomes visible. He reminds us that faithfulness in small things is precious in the eyes of God. You do not have to shine perfectly. You do not have to shine constantly. You simply have to remain available. Available to love when it is difficult. Available to forgive when it feels undeserved. Available to trust when answers are unclear. When you do this, even imperfectly, your light shines. Take a moment today to reflect on where you may have hidden your light. Perhaps you stopped speaking kindly because it felt pointless. Perhaps you stopped hoping because disappointment felt safer. Perhaps you stopped trusting because fear seemed more realistic. Bring those places to God. He does not judge you for hiding. He gently invites you to step back into the light. Ask Him to show you where your light is needed today. Not tomorrow, not someday, today, in your home, in your workplace, in your conversations, in your thoughts. Ask Him to help you see others the way He sees them, with compassion, with patience, with love. Ask Him to help you see yourself the way He sees you, as someone chosen, someone loved, someone entrusted with light. Lord Jesus, thank You for the light You have placed within us. Thank You for trusting us with Your presence, even when we feel unworthy or unsure. Forgive us for the times we have hidden our faith out of fear, fatigue, or doubt. Forgive us for the moments we chose comfort over courage and silence over love. Give us the strength to shine again, not in our own power, but in Yours. Teach us to live our faith quietly and faithfully, allowing Your love to flow through our words, our actions, and our choices. Help us to remember that our light matters, even when it feels small. Help us to trust that You are working through us in ways we may never fully understand. And help us to walk forward with confidence, knowing that You walk beside us every step of the way. May our lives reflect Your presence today. May our hearts remain open. May our light shine, not for our glory, but for Yours. And as we go about this day, may we carry this truth with us. We were never meant to hide our faith. We were created to shine. Amen.